Joining me to discuss this further is Babak Emamian, a member of the British Iranian Business Association. Thank you very much for coming into the studio. Babak, so Europe have said if Iran do not stay committed to the deal, they will impose sanctions. What is the likelihood of that happening?
Well, let's look at why Iran is continuing with joint comprehensive plan of action. What is in it? Because there's no trade between Europe and Iran. The reason why they want to stay in it is actually to avoid a US war by support from Europeans. So as long as they say we are in this Iran deal, as is known, and they have the support of Europeans, they hope to avoid a US war. And right now we see with the aircraft carrier, Abraham Lincoln, in the Persian Gulf, the likelihood of a war has gone up, it has escalated.
And they gave a 60-day ultimatum. Do you see that happening in those 60 days?
Well, on the Iranian side, the government wants to negotiate with the US. But the US is not interested to negotiate unless all their demands, the 12 demands, are accepted. But there's the other government in Iran called Revolutionary Guard. And they want to actually take a military action, or in a way, they want to embarrass President Trump the way they're looking at Jimmy Carter, how they did it in 1980 with US hostages. That's the activity they wanted to plan in Iraq.
So how serious is that prospect, do you think, especially if there's a possibility that Iran continues its nuclear program of a US military action?
Well, it sounds very bizarre, but we are living in a bizarre time. So there are desperate people right now in Iran because the price of meat is more expensive than price of meat in central London. Already these sanctions have been effective. I mean, the sanctions have been effective over the last 12 months. The new sanctions have been even effective so much that the currency has depreciated by 25% the last 2 days. So we are dealing with desperate people in Tehran. So they would come up with any bizarre plan, like how they could have a military activity. These are the Revolutionary Guards, not the government. Government wants to negotiate, the Revolutionary Guards. Somehow through their affiliates. And this way they could embarrass President Trump and alter the 2020 elections. They are looking back nostalgically to 1980, how they actually altered the US election between Ronald Reagan and Jimmy Carter. Now, this is bizarre, but then these are bizarre times.
But in all of that, Europeans are caught in the middle between Iran and the US. So how do you think they can ensure that the deal stays and doesn't collapse?
Well, they want Iran to give them full cooperation. And they're talking about Iran coming out of Article 26 and 36 of the Joint Plan of Comprehensive Action, or Iran deal. And they are saying, no, stick with everything and listen to us, whatever we say. This way we could avoid a possible conflict between yourself and US. And we mustn't forget the aircraft carrier. It took 30 days to get there. So the decision to send it was 30 days ago. It's not something new. And US has many bases in Persian Gulf. So it didn't need to have an aircraft carrier there. The reason why it has it, that if it wants to take a military action, it doesn't need consent from the local governments. So they could take it independent. So this is really high-stake poker right now.
Well, that's all the time we have. Thank you very much for joining us here on TRT World. Babak Emamian.